Yeah, hello guys. I don't even realise there if I went on or no. I just came on Saturday afternoon. Been out to a meeting, stuff this morning. Put a bit of work in, and I want to talk about a video that I done a few days ago, while I was having a bit of a hard time. Hopefully, that anybody that's a supporter of myself or no, is happy now that I've got myself out the other side of that. I was having a really tough time and I was really struggling. So I was, and eventually, the truth sorted it, right? So I've sat down. So there's a couple of things that I'm looking at now within the next wee while that I'm looking at, depending on what happens, right? But the anger and stuff that I had in me for where I live, I felt as if I was getting treated like a prisoner. I felt as if I was being watched. When I was getting piss tested, I was getting piss tested using a cup out of water cooler. Right, it turned out to be a bad practice, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, got everything on at the table. And I'd went to a graduation where I was picking up 3 certificates. And my head was not bad in a space. I put them down a stank. I didn't think I deserved them. I felt like I was suffering from imposter syndrome, basically. And that's not the case, because I'm not an imposter, I do put work in. Sometimes I slack, but do you know what? Even amongst the anger and the sore heat and the emotional stuff and all that, right, I still managed to get work done. And I'm happy that I've got to that place, you know what I mean? So anybody that's sending any messages, I thank your support. By the way, I took that video down, and I took it down for a reason, right? It wasn't very, people were very supportive here, but I wasn't happy with myself, right, about it. I don't like to see people see me like that. I would rather put out positive energy if I can, right? But I'm human, the same as anybody else. So there's a couple of different options opened, right, to me, and I'll have to have a close look at them over the next 48 hours or so. Need to do a bit of work about downloading stuff and seeing what's on offer and what. But we're on an even keel now, so we are, me and anybody I work with. So I've been back at recovery cafes. I went out to a meeting this morning, actually. I woke up at 6. I fell back asleep about 7. Woke up about 9. And somebody phoned me to go to a meeting. And it's only across the road. And I went, nah, I can't be bothered. And 20 minutes later, my conscience started bothering me. Because there should be no reason for me not to get up on a Saturday afternoon and walk across the road to a meeting. So, stuck my clothes on and flew over. And I really enjoyed it. I've heard this lassie share before, but I really enjoyed it, so I did. And what I discovered is that, sometimes you think that you need meetings. And that's fine. But I also realise that sometimes meetings need you, right? You keep good blood flowing through it, encourage others, bring a positive attitude, make sure that anybody new it's coming in the door, they want to come back, they want to put new blood through the place and all that, because what we're trying to do at this point is stop the next generation, right? And trust me when I say this, the next generation are right up against it. Right, they're really, really up against it, because there's different drugs from when I grew up. There's different things in them, right? People are selling the white stuff, right, and it's turning out there's all sorts of shit in it. The brown stuff's the same, there's fake pills, there's this, there's that, the next thing. And the youngins think that they're the same as the stuff that I used way back in the day, which I would call real, right? Spice, stuff like that, right? I've watched all, it's fucking horrific, right? And I've seen some horrific things in my time. I've done some horrific things. But I've seen some horrific things in the last few years that I thought that's really, really over the top. You know, one thing in particular, do you know, he's a wee pal of mine, and I looked at my cell one day, and his other pal was taking him a walk along the landing with his belt round his neck, and he was on his hands and knees. I think he was a Doug. The other big guy thought he was fucking taking him for a walk, and the two of them were on his base. Right, that tells you everything you need to know. There's a lot of bullying and stuff going about there as well. Do you know, it's used to manipulate people and all that. And to be fair, I didn't use spice. I was talking about this the other day, do you know, and in general, I found it easier. If you don't know, I spent nearly a quarter of a century in prison, right? So I can put myself easily right into a prison in my own head in 2 seconds because I still think like that, right? And somebody says institutionalised, right? And we done a bit of research about this, and it turns out that people that are institutionalised are people that are in institutions in general, right? What I discovered through a guy who's one of my biggest supporters and one of my biggest helpers is that there's an actual word, and it's called prisonization, right? Now, prisonization is exactly, just give me 1 second actually. Right, now the word prisonization, right, let me tell you this, let me explain this to you, right? Prisonization, the process of inmates absorbing the culture, the values and the norms of prison life can have a detrimental effects on their mental health and physical reintegration after release. This process can lead to a range, right, of post-traumatic stress disorders and symptoms like that. Furthermore, prisonization can hinder an individual's ability to form and maintain healthy relationships, leading to social isolation and difficulties adapting to life outside of prison. Now, psychological impacts, mental health deterioration, loss of perspective, institutional perspective traits, strain, negative emotions, right? Problems reintegrating, right? Reduced social status, coping mechanisms, mental health professionals needed, long-term effects, right? Now, I'm not going to go into what all they all are, but they're the basics of that, right? And I could take that box off one by one, right? But I don't like labels. So I don't bother labelling myself with it, but at the same time I realise exactly what it's all about, and I think to myself, fucking hell, do you know? So now that we've discovered this, we're now in the process of going round a bit of work. So next week I'm going to be involved in a criminal justice thing, and I'm going to start there, and hopefully, you know, I can unravel some of these problems that I come across in my daily life, you know, because as I say, I can think like a prisoner at any point in time, no, thinking that, you know, somebody can phone me and I can think, oh, here, they're listening, right, they're sitting on their phone listening to me, see if I sound different and all that, right, what fucking madness, right, and I can let my heat do the job on me, and that's what I done the other week, right, but, no, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a good thing, right, so, it's very hard stuff. Hold on, I put my internet on, guys. 2 seconds, please, if I can get it. There it is there. Sorry about that. Right, there's my back, right. Aye, it's a tough one. You know, I wanted to come in and tell you this. Hopefully give people a wee bit of positivity. Other guys suffering from the same stuff that I suffer from myself, because they're probably surprised at hearing this, and I'm very surprised at hearing it, you know, that I'm just starting to hear it, because I'm thinking to myself, what the hell, how have I not heard of this before? The reason it's not been heard of before is because it's quiet, right, and right? It's been kept quiet for a reason, because people like to say, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just institutionalised, right? Well, that's all right. Maybe that's the case for some. For me, it's not. It goes deeper than that. So I need to work on that anyway. And I'm just glad that I'm here today, and I'm here to thank you, for your support during a hard period. And I'm blessed to have you. So am I, and I'm the ones I know who are a bit closer to me and that, and I thank you all for the bottom of my heart. I wasn't planning on coming on here long. I was only planning on coming on for a couple of minutes because I have a couple of things today. And actually, I'm going to see what time there's a meeting on, and probably head down to a meeting tonight, do something in my time. So, I want to thank everybody once again, right? And I'm very sorry about that video if it was negative in any way, shape or form, right? God bless yous all, right? Yous are warriors, remember that, right? There's light at the end of the tunnel, right? Remember that, right? And if I'm here and you need me, right, email me or message me, right? Just find me on Facebook, right? Bang, and send me a message through Messenger, and I will get back to you at some point. I promise you that. Thanks very much. Have a good night, stay safe, and God bless, guys.